Stand in the shadow of a traditional red temple gate and look up to see the glowing spire of the Tokyo Skytree directly behind it. This synthesis of ancient spiritual heritage and ultra-modern technology defines daily life in Japan. But the ground beneath this society is anything but solid. Japan is an archipelago, a fragmented chain of 4 major landmasses and nearly 4,000 smaller islands surrounded by the Pacific Ocean. Nearly 70% of this terrain is covered by mountains and dense forests. This geographic reality leaves only a few narrow coastal plains available for over 120 million people to live and build on. These crowded plains sit directly atop the Ring of Fire. Tectonic plates are constantly shifting and grinding against each other beneath the islands, triggering thousands of earthquakes every year and leaving the coastline vulnerable to tsunamis. Beyond these natural threats, the nation faced total devastation in 1945. By the end of the Second World War, its major population centers were reduced to skeletal ruins and ash. Cursed by geography, starved for space, and shattered by war, Japan somehow engineered its way into becoming the 4th largest economy on the planet. The extreme scarcity of livable land forced a total rethinking of urban density. When a society cannot expand outward, it has to find a way to compress human activity into the smallest possible footprint. One solution is the capsule hotel. Instead of a traditional room, guests stay in a stacked sleeping pod. These units provide a bed, climate control, and power outlets within a tiny frame, allowing hotels to accommodate dozens of people in the space of a few standard rooms. This drive for efficiency extends to heavy infrastructure. In cities like Osaka, the lack of available ground space led engineers to design highway off-ramps that pass directly through the middle floors of existing skyscrapers. To survive the Ring of Fire, modern architecture relies on shock-absorbing foundations that allow buildings to sway safely during a tremor. These physical defenses are backed by early warning systems that send emergency alerts to every mobile phone in the country. Japanese physical innovation is defined by this strategy. Rather than trying to conquer nature, the architecture is engineered to bend and flow around its constraints. This ability to coordinate complex solutions requires a high degree of social organization. That unity is manufactured early on through the national education system. From their first years in school, children are taught that the group's well-being is their individual responsibility. Students spend a portion of every day sweeping and wiping down their own hallways. This practice instills a level of discipline and shared duty that carries into adulthood. That discipline scales up into the workforce, allowing for the flawless precision required to run the Shinkansen network. These bullet trains carry millions of passengers at 320 kilometers per hour, with a record of safety and punctuality that is studied worldwide. However, this culture of extreme dedication has a severe breaking point. The intense pressure to prioritize the group over the individual has led to a phenomenon called karoshi, death caused by overwork. This cultural engine manufactures incredible technological progress, but it generates an immense amount of psychological pressure that requires a release. To manage the demands of this high-tech lifestyle, Japanese citizens maintain a deep, functional connection to their spiritual and natural heritage. This connection is rooted in Shintoism, which teaches that divine spirits inhabit natural elements like mountains, forests, and stones. This belief system treats the environment as a sacred space that requires constant reverence. Even national sports like sumo wrestling function as sacred rituals. Every ceremonial leg lift and salt-tossing gesture was originally established as a service to the deities to ensure a successful harvest. Modern citizens use these ancient practices to combat the fatigue of city life. They practice forest bathing to reduce stress through nature immersion, and use the tea ceremony to enforce a state of mindfulness and mutual respect. These traditions provide an essential psychological anchor, acting as a survival mechanism for a population living at the absolute edge of technological advancement. Today, a new crisis is emerging. This population chart shows a heavy, expanding top row of elderly citizens and a rapidly shrinking base of young people. Japan is now facing a future with more retirees than workers. To solve this demographic crisis, the nation is once again turning to technological innovation to protect its citizens. Advanced robotic assistants are being deployed in hospitals and care centers across the country. These machines handle physical labor and basic interaction, filling critical gaps in the workforce while helping the elderly live with independence. This drive to progress extends even beyond the islands. The National Space Agency, JAXA, continues to push the boundaries of satellite technology and deep space exploration, looking toward the next frontier. Japan's ultimate lesson is that true progress does not require erasing the past. Instead, the most sustainable innovation happens when the technology of the future is engineered to honor and protect the traditions of history.